Okay, so today I'm going to talk something about Amazon EMR, which stands for Elastic MapReduce. I just get started to learn things about EMR in the past few days, so just a starter. You are more than welcome to say anything or any advice to me in this demo. Okay. So from what I know, I think there are several important steps in an EMR workflow, and I will try to cover all of them in this demo. The first thing is to create a cluster. You need to create a cluster to do parallel computing. There are several configurations and applications you need to be care of. Secondly is how to submit the Spark jobs onto this cluster and make it run it for you. Third, I want to add one more step to submit another job onto this running cluster. Finally, I'm going to terminate this cluster to avoid being charged by Amazon. Okay, one more thing is that during this workflow, I stored my input files and scripts, and the dependencies in the S3 bucket. I've already created a folder and 2 scripts. We are going to visit this folder shortly, and I'm going to explain what these 2 scripts are very soon. Okay. So let's move to our IPE, which is Amazon Cloud9. During this workflow, I'm going to do all the stuff instead of in GUI. I'm going to do this with AWS command line. Okay, so like I have just said, first to create a cluster. I'm going to first run this. Okay. I'm going to explain what is happening inside. You see, it gives us the cluster ID and the ARN. We can have a quick check on EMR console, which is our EMR refresh. You see it is a cluster that is already running, and the cluster ID matches the information here. Okay, so inside this script, first create cluster. We give it a name. I will give it the name from Cloud9 demo. The same here. Okay. So I specify the EMR version, several applications. You might want to add more applications, but it is just doing fine here. Where to store the logs? Okay, I don't think I specify very correctly here. Maybe that doesn't matter. Okay. Next step is to create a key for your EC2 instance. To do so, you can maintain a high security. Just a quick review. Okay, in the EC2, network and security, there's key pairs. You can create a key pair. I have already created one called EMR key, which is the one here. Okay, specify the instance type, instance count. I think it's a master code and task code and core node here. Okay. Then the bootstrap action is one important step here, I think. So in this line, it actually helps me to maintain a cluster to have the dependencies I wanted pre-installed. We can take a look at this EMR bootstrap here. Okay. I wanted to pre-install Matplotlib and Pandas. You can add more packages you want. To have this command line know that I wanted to have the dependencies, I tell it the path, which leads to the S3 bucket where I store this script. It's just the same as this one here. Next is to add a step. The step here is the same as jobs, I think. So in this line, there's several configurations. Deploy mode, cluster master. Here, I specify where to look for my Spark job. You can see these two are in the same folder, which is here. Okay. Then I use default row. So here I comment out this auto terminate. If I uncomment it, it would help me to create a cluster, run this Spark job, and then automatically terminate this cluster for me. It is useful sometimes because you don't want to forget terminating the cluster, but I don't want this here because I want to add one more step to this running cluster. Okay, so let's check our EMR. It is bootstrapping. You can take a look here. In this interface, I think there are several things we can take a look at. Monitoring. So in these steps, it actually tells you the Spark jobs. You can see here, this is probably our Spark jobs here. Can name Spark job. Okay. It is still pending. It generally takes about 5 to 6 minutes to create a cluster, which is much faster than you would do on a platform outside Amazon EMR. Okay. Wait for it to pending. Okay. So another thing to be note is that you can create a notebook here. This is one I have created before. So the benefit of a notebook is that with a notebook you can do regular data science workflows. You can test out the functions and the library you would use to make a successful script. So it's kind of help you to prepare for the final Spark job. Okay, it's running. Okay, so our Spark job is actually running. I think we can see here. Yeah, this Spark UI. This is another useful interface. The Spark History Server UI. You can actually see how this Spark job is done inside. Okay, so let's take a look at our. You see, this is the Sparkly UI. So when it is still running, we can see what is actually happening in our Spark job. Let's go to the main function. we first create a Spark session, then I give an import pass, output pass, and then I process the book data. So the input pass is actually called Amazon Book Reviews. It is a pre-installed data on Amazon S3. So I don't need to specify it here. I only need to specify the pass. And so there's the output pass. So I have an output location to locate our output data from this process. It is in this book aggregates. So to test out if our Spark job is actually carried out, we can take a look at our S3 bucket to see if there is a newly created document there. Let's go to our EMR. Yeah, it's complicated, perfect. Let's go to see our S3 bucket. Refresh. Yeah, great. You can see this is a folder created here. Let's take a look. You can see it actually processes every document. Let's go back to here. This is input pass. This regular expressions tells this Spark job to look at every file with an extension of parquet in this folder. So the result is in this folder now. You can see actually it's very fast and a very successfully carried out workflow. Okay, so the next step is that I want to add one more Spark job onto this running cluster. To do so, I'm going to run this script. Before running this script, we need to change our cluster ID, the only ID to specify our additional step. I'm going to copy paste this. Oops. What is happening here? Irritating. I think there are some formats. Why? Okay, yeah, so it is done. It is running here. We add one more step. It gives us the step ID. Yeah, can check out in this. You can see here it's a new Spark job we have submitted to this cluster. Yeah, so this Spark ID is the same as this one. Yeah, perfect. So to add one more job onto our cluster, we just need to again use the AWS command line, add steps, and this part is actually the same as our submit job script here. You can see it's actually the same. We just add one more step to this cluster. I use the same script. So you can see this this workflow is kind of very similar to a real-world application. So in a real world, you want to process big data. You create a cluster, and every people in the company, they might have some insights on the data. They want to try some modeling, some processing on the data. So there have to be a lot of jobs submitted to the Spark, and with this command line, you can do this very quickly and easily. And also with this Spark history server, you can see the event log, so you will debug this very easily. Okay, so let's go to EMR. Yeah, it is complicated. How to check this? We go to our S3 bucket. Okay, so let's check out this. Great. So from this time point, we can see these files are just newly created. So our additional step is successfully done by this cluster. Perfect. Okay, so that comes to our final step is we are going to terminate this cluster because our job is done. We again need to change this cluster ID. I find it here. Okay. Irritating. I believe this is due to my copy-paste from Windows to an Linux environment. Okay, hopefully. Okay, great. You can see from this command line, I need to first modify this termination protected property. So if you do in a GUI interface, you will notice that. And after changing this terminal protected property, I can terminate this cluster by specifying the cluster ID. We can check here, go to the cluster. Great, so our cluster is terminating, so we are not going to be charged anymore by Amazon in this EMR workflow. Okay, so that is what I have today. This demo is based on several tutorials and AWS documentations. So these resources I will list them in the link below. So thank you for watching. I will see you next time.